Hi, this is Michelle Sam from Sammy Wong's Kitchen, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make some really healthy milk fudge. And why do I call it healthy? Well, I was doing the calculations of the ingredients in this milk fudge, and it turns out that each little piece of fudge that you eat has about 500 milligrams of calcium. So it is very calcium dense. But on the flip side, unless you use lactose-free ingredients, it has a lot of lactose. So if you're lactose intolerant, you might have to just readjust your ingredients. But in terms of calcium, this is jam-packed with calcium. So this particular milk fudge actually is an adaptation of an Indian dessert. And if you know my story, I grew up in South Africa in an Indian community, because during those days we all had to be separated and they lumped the Chinese and the East Indians together. So I grew up with a lot of Indian food, and one of the things that I absolutely loved was a dessert called Barfi. And obviously the name Barfi for a dessert really didn't take off, and maybe that's why it's not so popular, but it is really yummy. This particular creamy milk fudge is what it really is. I've adapted the recipe. In India, they actually make it from milk and they boil it down until it becomes a fudge. But I have an easy recipe and the taste is very much similar, and it takes a fraction of the time to make it. The ingredients that you really need to make it would be clarified butter. The Indian name is ghee. And then you also need condensed milk. And this sweetened condensed milk, I would really recommend you go and read the ingredient list, because what you want in your ingredients is just milk and sugar. There are so many brands out there that you think, oh, okay, I know this product, I'll just take it. But if you look at the ingredients list, it is filled with fillers. So you don't want that. This actually is a Target brand, and all it has is milk and sugar. No palm oil, nothing else. So look for that when you're doing your condensed milk shopping. Besides condensed milk, we also need powdered milk. So I have sort high and low, and I have gotten myself this whole milk powder. It seems like these days they only sell non-fat powdered milk, but I feel that the whole powdered milk is what gives this particular fudge its creaminess. So what I'm going to do is make this fudge in this dish, which is an 8 by 11 inch dish. And in order to show you how adaptable and flexible this recipe is, what I've given you is the ingredient list for the base of the fudge, but you can always change the flavors. I have made rosewater fudge, and that was really, really delicious. The traditional Indian dessert comes with ground cardamom. And I've also done a Valentine's chocolate swirl with freeze-dried strawberries on that particular fudge. So the sky's the limit. So today what I'm going to do is take this actual dish and I'm going to divide it into 3 flavors. I'm going to show you how to make the traditional cardamom Barfi, and I'm also going to do a chocolate swirl fudge and a coconut with coconut cream fudge. So let's get started. Okay, so let's first prep our dish that we're going to be putting our milk fudge in, and then I'm going to go through the basic milk fudge as well as the various flavors. So prep your dish with a coating of butter or ghee. And then for the base, you'll need condensed milk and 250 grams, which amounts to about 2 cups of milk powder. And this is pretty much the base. So for the cardamom flavored milk fudge, just put in some cardamom here, and you'll need about half a teaspoon of cardamom So I'm going to just grind my cardamom, and that's when you'll have the best flavor. So I've ground cardamom, and then I'm going to be using my coconut cream for the inside of the milk fudge, and then I'm going to actually garnish it with coconut flakes. And here I have some food coloring that you can use if you want to have fancy coconut. I'm going to put some coconut flakes in here, and then just put a few drops of your food coloring. You can use regular food coloring if you wanted to go completely all natural. You can use beet juice if you want it red and get more natural color. But all you'll be doing is taking your food coloring and just swirling it around your coconut and get your colored coconut. Okay, so that's your colored coconut. For the chocolate swirl, you need a tablespoon of chocolate. And what you need is a non-stick, heavy-bottomed skillet that you're going to be cooking your milk fudge in. Now, not everybody has a heavy-bottomed skillet. Just make sure that your heat is not too hot so you don't burn the milk. So you want to be very careful with that. So let's get to the stovetop and start making our milk fudge. Over medium-low heat, and if you have a non-stick thin pan, then get it even lower. You'll need 2 tablespoons of ghee, a whole can of condensed milk, and I love condensed milk, and your powdered milk. And all you do is mix this all together. So now I am just incorporating all the milk powder into the condensed milk. All right, so as you can see, the milk powder has incorporated into the condensed milk, and this is when it's ready. So this is the milk fudge. And what I wanted to do now is show you how to make the various varieties of fudge. So I'm going to take 2/3 out, keep this third here, and put my chocolate chips in here. So flatten this, put my chips, melt the chips into the milk fudge Barfi, mix it a little bit, and this is ready. So I've placed it into my dish here. I'm going to take the other third of my milk fudge, and this one I'm going to make into my coconut milk fudge, and I'm going to add my coconut cream to it. And this will take a little longer to cook because now you have this coconut cream. And so I'm going to just keep stirring this until it's well incorporated. So once it starts coming together and becomes more like batter, where when you move it, it moves together as a whole piece of dough like this, rather than sticking behind, then that's ready. Okay, so here is the last third. All I'm going to do is sieve my cardamom and add the cardamom powder. Stir it a little bit. And that's my third flavor. So here are my 3 flavors, and let us go back and start flattening it. So when it comes to putting your milk fudge in the dish and flattening it, start with the ones that are not so messy. So obviously your chocolate swirl has a lot of the melted chocolate, and then this coconut has the coconut milk. This has the ground cardamom, so it's the least messy. So I'm going to go and use a silicone spatula if it's sticking. All right, and then this one is the coconut, and it's a little softer because we have the coconut milk in it. We'll just spread that. And I'm going to take my coconut flakes Then just work that in. I'm going to use my silicone because it's sticking to my metal spoon. So if it's sticking to your metal spoon, then just use a silicone spatula. That should not stick. And then lastly, we have the chocolate swirl, or the chocolate type fudge, which is really yummy. And what you're trying to do is get your milk fudge a uniform height. Okay, so there are our 3 milk fudges. This one is the cardamom, this one is the coconut, and this is the chocolate swirl. Leave this for an hour before we even start to think about cutting and eating. Here is the milk fudge, and it actually was setting overnight, and so now I wanted to show you how to cut it. So you could actually use a cookie cutter, and it's a little denser than cookie dough. So what you would do is, this is a rather large cookie cutter, but just to give you an idea, because the milk fudge is dense, you place your cookie cutter on your milk fudge and take a flat plastic, like this is a dough scraper, place it on here and press it down, and in that way you will save your palm from hurting. But I'm not going to be doing that, so you can either cut it into squares, which would be just easily going down here and then cutting the squares, or you can cut them into diamond shapes. And the chocolate marble is going to be a little harder because the chocolate does solidify. And I really don't make them too big, just because I think it's nice if you get smaller pieces and then you can have a variety. And here you have your milk fudge. It's absolutely delicious, and it's packed with calcium. So go ahead, indulge in a healthy way. More recipes can be found on SammyWong'sKitchen.com or social media. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks!